Pat Forde covers college football and college athletics for Sports Illustrated, and he's joining us on the program here. Where do you want to start with this, Pat? Because it feels like you're always the bearer of bad news. So do you have any good news for college football fans?
Let's see. The Pac-12 will announce a schedule today, as has obviously the ACC and SEC have announced scheduling models. So we're going to at least schedule games. I'm not saying we're going to play them, Dan, but we are going to schedule them.
Okay,
and I guess
but
that gives people something to talk about.
What's the Pac-12 schedule going to be?
It'll be 10 games. It'll be conference only. They're adding one league game per team so that everybody's playing an even 5 home, 5 road. I'm not sure start dates yet, but that's been a really interesting thing. And I heard you allude to it before the break there about where some conferences are looking like, hey, let's go early. Others are like, no, let's push it back and go late. That's to the point that I don't think anybody knows what's the right thing to do here.
And I don't think we're going to have a bowl season. I'm starting to look at the time frame if you're going to play. Like the SEC conference title game is December 19th here. Do you think we're going to have a bowl season?
I think if we have a season, we'll have bowl games. Yeah, if they can get to the end of the season, I think we will. They'll push them back. They'll schedule them wherever and whenever. As you know, the worldwide leader will find places to put bowl games. It's funny, yeah, because December 19th, normally that would be the weekend when they would start with like 5 bowl games. Now that's going to probably be a conference championship weekend. They'll stash the Camellia Bowl on mid-January if they need to, if they think it'll work.
You mentioned that the ACC had a preemptive strike where they were not going to be the bad guy in these rivalry games that they have with the SEC at the end of the season, where it's Florida State, it's Clemson, South Carolina, Georgia Tech, Georgia. So explain what the ACC did and then what the SEC then tried to counter.
Yeah, it was a lovely bit of skullduggery, and this just goes to show these Power 5 programs that I think we use the analogy, the 5 crime families. That's what they are. They kind of get along, but when it comes down to rubber hitting road, they're all in it for themselves. So at 3:30 on Wednesday, word starts getting out that the SEC, has finalized its schedule that they only want to play conference games. At about 4:20, the ACC suddenly puts out a blast to its members. We are releasing our schedule. They weren't going to do it that day. They had agreed on it earlier in the day, but they were not going to release it. But they wanted to get it out ahead of the SEC news and then make it and portray the schedule and show, hey, we have this open date for a non-conference game played in our home state, which obviously is for those games, to accommodate those games. They wanted to put that out there and paint the SEC into the corner as the ones that are saying, no, we're not going to play Florida State. We're not going to play Georgia Tech. Clemson, South Carolina, it's played every year since 1913. No, we're not going to do it. Louisville, Kentucky, etc. Wow. So it was quite a deft little maneuver by the ACC.
Notre Dame and the ACC, is this a temporary relationship?
I think it is. I'm sure the ACC will continue to leave the porch light on for that wandering bachelor that is Notre Dame. They're going to get them. They're going to share towels. They're going to share dishes, and they're going to share a bank account for 1 year. But I think it will not last beyond that. I think that Notre Dame so cherishes its independence, its ability to schedule nationally and recruit nationally, that it will say, thank you very much, but now we are going back to our bachelor pad.
I'm getting more concerned about the Big Ten if the Big Ten has football. What do you think?
Yeah, legitimate concern. I mean, they put out a memo to the league members yesterday, and the first paragraph says, we're still not sure we're going to play. That's the baseline starting point right there. They said, if protocols are in place and things are going well, next week we will probably go ahead and green light starting camp. That's if. And then after that, we'll see how it goes, and we'll maybe release a schedule next week. It could leak out earlier, but I would think that will be next week as well. They've been very cautious about this going forward. I mean, you look at Rutgers and the situation they're in New Jersey, not even sure whether people can travel into or out of the state to play them. There's travel restrictions in Ohio. There's travel restrictions in Pennsylvania. There's problems all over the place that I think they are certainly more wary of or willing to acknowledge than the other conferences are.
What did you think of my idea of maybe moving the season up and then having the ability to have bye weeks where you could almost hit a reset button for these colleges, these students?
Yeah, I mean, that's there's two competing schools of thought. There's that which the Big 12 looks like they're going to do. I mean, they're pushing up games to August 29th versus the SEC going to September 26th. And the SEC's reasoning is we're going to bring everybody back to campus in mid-August, all the students, and the virus is just going to blow up, and we're going to have to shut things down for a couple weeks. So let's delay our start. But if you delay your start, you also push further into flu season, traditional flu season, and what people think will be traditional COVID season eventually. So I would think, really, if you feel like you can start early, and then you just hang on through whatever's going to happen.
I agree with you when it comes to, all the Power Five conferences. It felt like, hey, we're in it together. Let's try to figure this out. Like, what are you guys doing? And what are you guys doing? All of a sudden, the ACC, it's that game. I don't know if it was World of Warcraft or when Leroy Jenkins, where the guy is talking about, they have strategy. And all of a sudden, the guy yells out, Leroy Jenkins, like he's going all in to ruin their strategy. That's what it felt like. The ACC was like, Leroy Jenkins. We're going all in.
Oh, yeah. It's like, my name's called, I'm going. No,
Yeah.
Truly, that's, the Big Ten's the one that shanked everybody to begin with when all five of them were in it together. They're like, now we're just going to announce our schedule. We're not even going to tell anybody else. Then the Pac-12's like, I guess we better too. And then the other three were all, no, we're in it together. And then the ACC pulls the stunt with the SEC. So everybody's mad at everybody. Nobody trusts anybody. It's college sports.
If you had to bet a week's pay, will the Big Ten play football this fall?
I'm going to say yes. I'm not sure everybody will, but I think that the intention is there, and I think that they will start.
What do you mean everybody? Every school in the Big Ten?
Right. I'm not, again, like Rutgers, let's wait and see what happens there. Now, they've gotten their testing numbers under control, but again, travel situation there is going to be difficult. I think there are people within the Big Ten that would like to play in the spring. And they may say, we can't play now. But I think the majority will want to play in the fall and will try to play in the fall.
My problem with the springtime football is you're going to be playing 2 football seasons in a span of 9 months. And you're going to have some marquee players who are just going to say, nah, I'm not going to do it that close to the combine and that close to the draft. And I just can't see how you're going to cram that in. And then, 5 or 6 months later, you're going to start the season again, a new season.
Yeah, remember way back a long time ago when concussions were an issue, when people were worried about that. And you're going to try to play a schedule in the spring and then turn around and get everybody through that and then back into contact again a couple of months maybe later and have another season. I agree that that's problematic. And yeah, players opting out. We're going to see some already. We saw the Virginia Tech cornerback opt out, and I think we're going to see more of that. You push it to the spring, I think you will see dozens and dozens of players opt out.
I think your next column, you got to lead with something positive. Do your best. And I'm not talking about positive test. I'm talking about something positive, Pat, okay?
I'll do my best. I'll see what I can come up with. I've been encouraged to be more positive and less realistic by many people.
Oh, I get that every day on the show. Yeah, stop being realistic. Be positive. I'm like, okay. Great to talk to you. Thanks again, Pat.
Thank you.
That's Pat Forde, Sports Illustrated senior writer.